In today's video, we're going to get started on seeds. So I've got quite a few seeds that I need to get started. We're going to work on peppers, tomatoes, and I've got a couple flowers and onions today. Let me bring you in so you can see what we're going to be working on. We have a lot of success here with peppers, and they're one of my very favorite things to grow. So I've got a few different varieties, not a ton. We are not huge fans of hot peppers, and so I don't typically grow that, although we are going to grow some jalapeno, and I would like to grow some poblano, but that's about as hot as we're going to do. Mostly bell peppers, and so I've got some yellow, orange, red, and green that we're going to grow this year. We like to grow quite a few of those and then store them for all year round in the freezer, and we use those in so many dishes, so that's why it's one of our favorites. And again, that's one of the few things that we had great success with, so that's why we're going to try to do quite a few today. I've also got some Roma tomatoes and some cherry tomatoes, and then just a good slicing tomato. Well, actually two here that we're going to grow this year. Although I wanted to narrow down my tomatoes. I'm really the only one that loves tomatoes in my family to eat fresh. And of course, we all eat tomatoes in sauces. So as far as the fresh ones for eating fresh, I'm just going to grow the one slicing tomato for me and for any that I want to give away, and then the rest are just going to be for storage or for sauces, for canning, those types of things. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get my soil ready. We're seed starting in the garage today because it is rainy and nasty outside, and this was a space where we could work today. So I've got some compost here, and I've also got some seed starting mix. And I am going to combine these. A lot of times I use mostly seed starting mix. But I'm thinking that by adding some compost, the seeds may do a little better, may do a lot better. So I'm going to use both. Now the compost mix we purchased recently at the big box store, and it is very wet because it was stored outside in the outside gardening area. So it's very wet. This I've had for several weeks, and it's been in the garage, so it's not one that gets stored outside anyway, so it's perfectly dry. But what I'm also going to do is I've got some boiling water. It's been sitting here for a few minutes, so it's cooled down just a little bit, but it's still very hot. And I'm going to add this to my soil. I have read that treating your soil when you're starting seeds, and especially if you're going to be storing your seeds inside, which I am in our grow tent, it's a good idea to add very hot to boiling water to the mixture to kill any insects that may be, any of the larvae that may be in there. I was just doing the calculations on my peppers. I'm planning to plant my peppers in some new raised beds that we just received that are approximately 4 by 8, a little smaller, just a little smaller than 4 by 8. And so I'm looking up to see, I just looked up to see the spacing and about how many I'm going to fit in there. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be best to do 10 peppers per raised bed. I also want to plant in the same beds some of the onions. Now, one of the problems that I have with the onions is I did not know, and something I just learned recently, that there is such a thing as long day and short day and intermediate types of onions. Well, we live in zone 7. It's now zone 7. It looks like they reclassified some of the zones. The USDA updated that in the fall of last year. And so we are in zone 7, and that falls in the intermediate zone. So the onions that would do best here are called intermediate. And the onions that I've purchased and onions that I have from prior years are either short day or long day. And what I understand is that if you don't buy the types of onions that are best for your area, you're just not going to have success. Now, we did have some success last year. I believe they were onion sets that Troy purchased last year of a yellow onion. And they did well, but they didn't get large. Most of them were very small. They were very good. Some of them were a decent size, but we didn't get any what I would call medium or large size onions. And as a matter of fact, we're still using them when I don't need many onions in a recipe, or I've got about a handful left of the very small ones. And so for most of my cooking, I use the larger ones, so I've been buying what we needed. But I was hoping to be able to really put effort into growing some larger onions this year. But like I said, I just learned after I purchased my seeds that I really need to get intermediate instead of long day or short day. I'm thinking about, and this is probably not wise, but I'm thinking about growing some of these anyway, just giving them a try and see what happens. In the meantime, Troy again bought some onion sets just this week locally, and we'll go ahead and plant those as well. I don't know what type they are. I would hope that being sold in our area, they would be the intermediate variety. So we'll use those in the meantime. So I'm letting the soil cool down a little bit since I added that really hot water. And then I'm going to fill my seed trays with soil and get started on getting these planted. So I've got my trays filled now with soil, and the hard part is narrowing it down to the seeds that I want to sow, because I want to plant all of them. But I need to decide how many I'm going to do. So I think what I'm going to do, what I ended up going with, instead of these larger peat pots, I went with the smaller ones like this that have 10 cells, and so 5 of these trays fit into my overall black tray, and so I can do 50 plants per tray. I wanted to go with the smaller ones for now, even though in the past I have started my peppers and my tomatoes in larger ones. It's because I want to get more of them started immediately, and this is going to take less space. We have a very small grow tent in the house, and I want to be able to fit as many things in there right now as possible. I also want to grow a little bit more than what I'm going to need, simply because I'd like to be able to give any that I don't need to my mom or friends, anyone who might need some extra starts. So I'm going to do a little extra. But now I have 150 trays, 150 possible plants right now, and I need to go ahead and start those. Now I'm not going to do double what I need, but I'll do a little more. So for example, if I'm thinking about peppers, and I'm thinking that the space that I have, I'm going to be able to do 40 peppers. So I might do 50. And with tomatoes, I'm not certain yet how many tomato plants I want. So I'm going to, I don't know. I'm going to think about it while I'm doing it, while I'm planting my peppers. Think about how many I want. I'd love to have a lot of aromas, like I said, for canning, for sauces, for that type of storage. So I'd like to have more than what I need. So I'll think about how many I want to get started. This particular one that I'm planting now is a orange pepper, and it says it's a tasty Polish variety. One tray down. 3 more to go. Okay, we got these planted. And this one is kind of a combination. I've got some green onions, some jalapeno, and some canary, yellow bell, and then some snapdragons. And these snapdragons, I've never grown before, so I'm very excited to give them a try. But those are the tiniest seeds I've ever seen. Okay, these are good. All right, so we're gonna do tomatoes, and every year I go overboard on tomatoes, and so I really am trying this time not to, except for the Roma. Troy helped me to get those trays moved into the grow tent inside where they will be cozy warm. And we have a shelving system that goes into that grow tent. I'm using it elsewhere, so I need to go and move all of my other plants that have been sitting on those shelves during the whole winter, and move that back into the grow tent so that we can move some more plantings in there once we get more things planted. But for the meantime, that's going to do. There's enough space in the bottom of the grow tent for those plants to rest for now. And we will move that shelf in there in the future. But I just thought I'd give you a shot of all of the water and the rain. It's been started out fairly warm day to day, and it just consistently is getting cooler and cooler. So I think it might even be close to 50, maybe down into the 40s, maybe not quite yet. But got a lot done today. I'm pretty excited about getting our seeds started for 2024. And I appreciate you taking your time to follow me as I'm starting our seeds on the Red Toolhouse Farm this year. Thank you guys. Have a great one.